I've been playing Genshin for almost 6 years now, and throughout my streaming journey, I've seen a lot of Genshin accounts that were bad, but one of my viewers' account was just cursed to a different level. So sometimes during my stream, I help my viewers out with their endgame content, and during one of the sessions, I saw one of the most cursed Genshin accounts ever built. Typically, I don't help with fixing accounts that much since they can take a long time. But since this viewer was a regular and I couldn't stand someone's account literally being bricked like this, I decided to create a challenge not only to make this account better, but to transform it into an endgame viable one that can clear the Spiral Abyss every month with 36 stars. So my viewer Draco started playing Genshin Impact around a year or so ago, evidently from Amber joining their team back in 2024. So they were considered as a new player. They also mentioned that they play Genshin on cloud gaming, so that they were only able to play Genshin with limited hours a week. So while checking the account to see what kinds of characters I had to work with, I was met with some of the most cursed builds I ever saw. There were characters that were equipping questionable weapons, and artifacts were all over the place. Hello? What kind of build is that? Yeah, I'm not kidding. Some characters were literally bald because they were missing circlets. Even though I had some of the premium characters to work with, there were always some things missing. Although there were a bunch of flaws on this account, this one discovery changed everything that I planned on this account fixing session. So we probably need to farm a bunch of Mora and EXP bucks. Oh wait, let me check how many residents you have. No way! Okay, that changes everything. Yup, the reason why I decided to spend 30 days dedicated to this account is because we have one problem. This account did not have many residents to work with, which would have allowed me to essentially get most of my farming done in one day. So in order to actually fix Dracos' account, I decided that I would take over their account for 30 days to see if I'm able to take it from being cursed to actually clearing the Spiral Abyss. And hopefully with the characters that they have, we can also go for 36 stars. I did this all live on my Twitch stream, so if you like these types of content and want to watch more of these, make sure to follow me and join me live there. Also, if you want to watch more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe. You don't lose anything for subscribing, unlike my sanity when I did this account fixing session. But without any further ado, here's how I fixed my viewers' cursed Genshin account in 30 days. So going into this account for the first time, the account owner Draco also had a few characters they wanted me to build that might not be considered as meta. So let's take a look at the teams. We have Malvika, Shilonen, Rosaria, and Bennett here. And then the second team is One Punch Man with Hazel, Farzan, Freyna, Bennett. Wait, but why is there two Bennetts here though? Did I just put Yansan here instead? Even though my goal is to clear the Spiral Abyss, I made a side quest to essentially listen to Dracos' request to build them. The first team is Malvika's not-so-traditional melt team. Even though Malvika herself is really strong and is generally considered as one of the best DPS characters in the game, for Dracos' account though, however, it's actually missing a few pieces that truly makes Malvika shine. So I tried bringing Malvika into a boss fight and was met with this. Okay, I see Malvika's damage. 120k? Okay, luckily this boss is easy. Right now she definitely doesn't really do enough damage. I mean, it's probably because Yansan isn't really leveled as well. Yes, Malvika crit is so sad. The problem with this Malvika is mostly because of her artifacts not being properly leveled. Wait, +0? Really? Yeah, we definitely have to work on all of these. And as a day one Genshin player myself, I'm just not used to seeing an account be in this state. Wow, there's barely any weapons though. I think that's the worst part, like, for this account, is like, there's barely any poems to go around. Like, Shevers prefers maybe like something else other than attack percent. Besides Malvika, I also needed to build Shilonen for her team. But the first problems I noticed on her were her skill talents not being fully maxed out. She was only level 80? Okay. I mean, talents is not level 10 yet, and there's also no weeklies? What? 2, 1. Wait, you gotta do weeklies here. There's no weeklies done as well? Wow. I'm gonna have to do all of these. With Dracos' 2 teams being the Malvika Melt, the second team was One Punch Man Hazel, since Hazel was Dracos' favorite 4-star character. Hopefully I'll be able to make it work. So by the end of day 30, I'm hoping to be able to clear the Spiral Abyss with one of the teams I built. In order to start this account fixing process, the plan was also simple. I'll be dedicating my first week or two to farming materials that we need for our characters, and slowly trickle our resins with boss essential materials, talents, and after Stygian is out, we'll focus on farming for artifacts. So here's hoping that with some good RNG, my plan will go exactly as I planned, and I'll be able to successfully transform this account into a fully functional account that can progressively clear the endgame content. So before I even did anything on this account, I immediately saw Dracos' mistake with their sword characters. She's using the fruit of the episode, okay. No Favonius? I mean, she could use this Favonius instead, and then just give Bennett like a different weapon. Ideally like the sapwood, which I feel like I need to craft it or something. So I'll just give Shonen this weapon first. I feel like this will be better. So we needed to head towards the Tree of Dreams in Sumeru that luckily was available on this account in order to purchase the blueprint for the sapwood blade. This account actually didn't even unlock this area before, so I was able to turn in some Denzo sigils for the extra rewards. I mean, I get 2 fates, and also another like fragile resins. Wait, the sword is okay. Luckily, you only have 1 sword. But yeah, the billet is like level 4. I was about to say, like, did you expect me to explore for this? So yeah, this weapon gives energy recharge as the stat, but it has a very high base attack, which is what I want on Bennett. And I think since we still have like all the materials available to farm. Wow. Okay, I need to farm ruined drakes and these things as well. I mean, like, I was trying to see how high I can level up the weapon first. If I really need to farm, I'll just go farm them. I mean, I probably need to farm them anyway, since like might be other characters that need this thing. But ruined drakes, I know there's a local legend I could fight for this, but I'm not sure if this account has it unlocked or not. But we definitely need to farm this though, so I think we farm this first. While farming for Benett's weapon materials, I was also vetting this Malvika's damage. And immediately, I realized that I was not hitting any melt consistently. If you're not familiar with Rosaria's skills, her burst is basically a circle, and Malvika tends to move out of that circle. So I was constantly missing my melt with her. One of the main challenges I'm facing is not only the fact that this account is underbuilt, it also lacks some important pieces character-wise that I'm usually familiar with playing. In this case, a Citlali for Malvika. So in a way, I'm also striving to improve my own skills and knowledge to fill in those gaps myself, which makes this account fixing challenge more interesting. Anyways, after I got done farming the weapon materials, I started to nitpick every details on this account. Okay, let me see what you're using. Why are you getting sweet flowers? No! No, don't do this. It's useless. You only have like 1,000 of these. Did you just not see how little of like the ores you have left? Okay, these are good. You're getting ores here. Is there another ore you can get here or not? No? Not quite. There's only 1 here. I mean, I need to get Mora or something then. Get Mora. Yeah, the not quite one is good. Wait, do you not have Yehoda? Where's Yehoda at? Like, look at this. You gotta be more efficient with this. What monster, like? Hello? You got fish right here? Now you can like get it twice a day instead of once per day. Okay, let me check and see. This is the ultimate test of like how well this account is maintained. Please tell me you have this area unlocked. And you don't. I'm someone that typically doesn't explore that much, but in order to make Dracos' account have an easier time farming, I had to unlock a waypoint for a local legend. Local legends are usually bosses in the overworld with a lot of HP to deal with, but it also drops a ton of materials as well. So unlocking this boss would definitely be a quality of life improvement, especially towards farming. I had to actually do a quest for Draco, which involves some kind of Nathlon puzzles. So yeah, you're welcome, Draco. I also went to challenge other local legends in Nathlon for their drops as well. Luckily, Dracos' account also has Columbina and Inefa, who are both really strong, especially when paired up together. Since both of them were already somewhat built, I just put them both in a team to make fighting the local legends a bit easier for myself. And Malvika in this team was actually able to shine. Even though I don't get to take full advantage of lunar reactions, Malvika accidentally overloading the boss here was actually amazing, as I can yeet her in midair for a big drop. I got a fall damage does more damage than Malvika herself. After collecting the drops, I was able to start improving the characters on this account, by first starting off with Benetta's Sapwood Blade. I also fully ascended arguably the most important character for this account. After ascending Shilonen, I made a mistake that I didn't realize at the time, but it will eventually come back to haunt me in the future. In order to access more materials, I was able to join viewers during my stream to farm in their world, so co-oping also sped up the farming process as well. Malvika was also really nice in the overworld, both farming and exploration wise. So I was just happy to be able to travel from one destination to another efficiently. Even though I was able to gather my resources, my problems always stem back to one thing: lack of resins. You see, no matter how many times I spend to win with Voltyea, or how many co-op boards I join, I can't change the fact that there's a time-gated system in my way. I even graciously designed Dracos' teapot for them in order to buy a transient resin, but even then, it's still not enough. At this point, I got a bit worried that even with 30 days, it might not actually be enough to fully transform this account into an endgame viable one. To prepare for the artifact grinding, I actually went through an artifact farming route where I collected 1-star artifacts as EXP fodders, just so I'll be able to save a bit of resins for artifact leveling. These are all the things I could do in the meantime, so every little bit helps. Usually when I log in to deplete some resin, I have to plan out exactly what I need, which is another challenge in itself. Eventually, I was able to finally get my first significant upgrade on my weapon on Bennett. So going forward, I'm hoping to notice some damage difference. Remember that One Punch Man Hazel team that Draco wanted me to build? Well, I haven't started on this team yet, since I'm all out of resin. But in the meantime, I decided to go pick up some Oni Kabutos, which happens to be what Hazel needed for his essential materials. The great thing about building some of these older characters is that I get to explore Inazuma again, which is a region I barely go to nowadays, outside of events, so it's nice to revisit some of these older Genshin regions. Although the Oni Kabutos was still a pain to find. Since weekly boss materials were limited, I had to spend the rest of the resin on a Raiden boss for Hazel before weekly reset. And the boss is pretty easy now with all the power creep, so I was able to gather all my materials before the end of the week. I spent the rest of my resinless days pre-farming for character materials that I would need later in advance. Once my resin refills, I mostly just farm for Bennett's materials as he was my #1 priority to build first. I was also mixing a few characters into the same team and they actually worked well together. Before I knew it, over half of the month was over. And so far, I've only done mostly material farming. With my limited resin usage in my previous days, I was able to get enough materials to finally max ascend Bennett. I do have other characters to build still, including Dracos' One Punch Man Hazel team. Faruzan's henna berries were a bit annoying to collect since I'm not really a big fan of the desert exploration. But luckily, I collected enough to raise both Faruzan and Hazel to level 80. So there's one thing I forgot to mention during this video, but for this account fixing journey, even though I fully took over this account for 30 days, the account owner Draco still logs into this account every day to also check up on my progress. They tried out a bit of their One Punch Man Hazel team and mentioned that their Hazel was only doing 15k punches, which obviously tells me that something was wrong. Either Draco was just playing Hazel wrong, or there was something wrong with his build. Because even at level 70, he should still be able to do at least 50k punches, especially with the team I was building him in. So I started to investigate. Wait, why are you using EM? Maybe that's why. Like, I don't think Hazel is a swirl character. I'm sure he's animal, but I prefer if he does like the big animal attack damage. You don't have animal damage though? I thought animal damage might be better. Like VV. Okay, I don't think you have any. Draco also falls into the newbie mistake of not having important artifact sets such as VV and Noblest sets. And instead, they just keep on wasting resin on chasing the RNG with min-maxing their DPS characters. More often than not, support artifact set effects are arguably more important than min-maxing DPS artifacts, so I'll definitely make sure to get a few sets later on. Anyways, I went ahead and started farming for Hazel's talent materials in order to raise his talents. Wait, his build is 64% actually. That's so good. I mean, this is a very good stat. Although 64 might like miss it off, so ideally get him to 70. After that, it is finally time to test out Hazel's damage output. I mean, I did 28k without like critting. One's okay, look. There's nothing wrong with Hazel, just, I guess, either you didn't play him right or, I don't know, maybe you weren't critting. It was nice seeing the damage difference between what Draco described earlier and the improvements that we've made so far. So hopefully I'll be able to continue on this trajectory. Account fixing also makes it so I get to play characters that I haven't used in quite a long time. I've always known Hazel was a fun character to play, so experiencing his gameplay again was both nostalgic and gives me a reason to try him out again. I finally had a major breakthrough seeing my character's growth from the beginning. I think Voltyea has a pretty good build right now. I mean, of course it could be better, but I think for now, her build is looking pretty good. Of course, like, maybe talents could be higher a little bit. So we might need to farm some bosses or something, but we'll see. Ian-san, I still haven't really raised her yet, but we'll get to her after we're done with Hazel and Farzan. So Hazel still needs like 15 of these. Farzan, let me check. Want to see how much she'll need. So she needs like 7 more. Okay. I guess we can finish off Farzan first. So it's like around 2 or 3 runs of the boss. If we get 4 drops, that'll be ideal. This is my Malvika team. Usually we'll have Ian-san, but I'm borrowing Bennett from Hazel's team first. I want to test out my damage for Malvika right now. I can melt 420k. Wow, that's pretty good. In the beginning, I was doing like 100k only, but now Malvika can actually get pretty nice damage in. So yeah, not bad. It might not seem like a lot, but being able to one-shot the boss was a great accomplishment, especially from an account that was barely functional just a few weeks prior. I was also able to fully ascend Farzan. So yeah, level 90, Farzan. Let me see, weapon is good. Her artifact is still missing a few things, because ideally give her emblem will be better. C2 of course. Talent's a little bit low though, but we need to farm this thing. Let me just spend my resins on Hazel first, and then we could go into some Eremite farming maybe. Let me try Hazel's team though. The Ruined Snake boss was pretty annoying by digging itself underground for half of the fight, but there were some nice instances of damage from the One Punch Man Hazel team. Anyways, I was able to spend the next few days of resins on a snake boss with Hazel, only to realize I made a huge mistake before it was too late. Alright, can I ascend Hazel now? Yeah, I think I can. So I just need 6 of... I can't craft these? Surely I could craft blood ones, right? Can I not do this? Wait, it's only 1? Really? I do not want to fight any of these things. Let me check and see the domain trial thing. This one, yeah. Wait, it's only 30 though. I'm gonna get 10. I don't think that's enough. It's not enough. Yeah, when an account that was already deprived of resin, I couldn't really waste any more resin fighting bosses just for the animal gemstone, so I'll most likely have to park Hazel at level 80. I just spend the rest of the resins trying to get Ian-san's materials instead, while testing out my Malvika's team. Why is it so hard to melt without Citlali? I don't get how Rosarius' melt works. Like, even though I was in the old, I still wasn't able to like get the cryo applications fast enough. Oh, I guess it's one. After Sejin was finally released for the patch, I was able to try my luck at artifact farming. To make my life easier, I just used Dracos' Lunar Charge team, and this team did wonders against the bosses. Even though at first I didn't really have any luck getting upgrades just yet, the artifact that I got were however going to be important later on. But I did get faked out sometimes. Oh, okay, double crit. How come these single crit flowers just get automatically locked? Eventually, it was all worth it though, as I was able to get some useful pieces as well. And ooh, okay, I think this is pretty good. I actually need some energy sand, so yeah, I could give it to Farzan or something. Because Farzan, I think, wants like 4 piece eventually, so let's see what we get. There's barely any enchanting materials. Wow. What? I got 3 crit damage? Let's get another one. HP, okay. I mean, that's still usable, I guess. Better will ideally get better ones as also. I mean, I'm still farmless, so not completely like done building her yet. Really, defense? Ooh, attack double crit. Ooh, another attack double crit. Wow. I also strongboxed a few useless artifacts and actually got a jackpot. Oh, this one's pretty good. Good Bennett piece, maybe. To test out my current roster as a whole, I went to attempt the Imaginarium Theater. This game mode also had trial characters for me to use, so it kind of tested me with some character knowledge. Even though I only did hard mode, so the bosses weren't as difficult. I was able to get 6 stars for the month, and more importantly, a transient resin. This allowed me to claim 2 weekly boss materials. The last character I had to build was Ian-san, and at this point, I basically used her boss as a DPS dummy for Malvika. The boss probably got sick of motorbikes because by the end of it, I was just toying with it. And yeah, it took a while, but I finally got my last character up to level 90 as well. Lastly, I had to farm more talent books to raise the rest of my characters' skill as well. But it was definitely going to come in handy for the final test in the Abyss. With my characters now finally built, I tried out a few weekly bosses with the teams I spent the past month on to see their transformation. I can't say that I've gotten accustomed to Rosaria's playstyle with Malvika yet, because things like this still happens where I just completely miss my burst. And even though the stars aligned, I also missed my melt crit. But it was still good enough to defeat the boss. I also tried out the One Punch Man Hazel team against Ignora. Let me do a punch, 89k. Not bad. I don't have Farina's burst yet as well. I was not starting to get her burst back a little bit faster though. A little bit slow. For some reason, all my weekly boss challenges had something going wrong. No! I missed my punch! Alright, as long as the boss doesn't spin, I think I'll be okay still. Don't move, please. And she moved. This is giving me a taste of like, I don't know, 2.0 or something weird. This boss is like hard to like deal with. Oh, I got 3 of these. Nice. So before we challenge the Spiral Abyss, I went to do some DPS testing with the characters that I built, starting with Malvika. Yeah, so the Malvika's burst is out now. Okay. Yeah, so pretty good. 68k. Like around 20 seconds, I get basically 60k DPS. 60k, not bad. For a seasonal Malvika with Earthshaker, since we only have Rosaria to work with, I think this is fine. Alright, let's try the Hazel team. Hazel could probably do like 20k, right? Surely. Let's try to get a rotation, right? Got punch to get my charge, and then punch. 111, okay. So it does like 20k DPS, 25k. Got punch again. So yeah, 20k. The final test for everything I've done so far in this journey is, of course, the Spiral Abyss. As much as I would like to use the One Punch Man Hazel team, they're probably not going to be able to 36-star floor 12, but I can give Malvika's team an attempt. For this Abyss, I had a Skirk team in the first half. There were only 3 enemies, and with pretty much a premium team, Skirk had no trouble getting through the first 2. The last Hazel Blob is a local legend, so it was a bit tankier than the rest. But I was still able to push through. Like, these are not the characters I'm building, but like, I just want to see how far I can take this account in the Abyss. For the second half, I had to learn the timing with Layla's cryo applications in order for Malvika to melt. Wait, how do you even do this then? How does Layla work? Like, with her burst? You just do this and then burst? And melt still? Wait, they haven't melt. Oh, they melted. Yeah, just a warning, I don't know how to play Layla with her melt. Typically in this team, I have no idea. It might have not been the smartest choice to bring Layla here, but hey, I like to improvise things. Luckily, this Abyss was perfect for Malvika, even with some shortcomings. And I missed my crit. And I was able to clear the first chamber with all the stars. The second chamber consists of an Electro Lector who was essentially stun-locked most of the time by Skirk. There was also a Primogem Bishop who wasn't much of a threat with my team, so it was smooth sailing for Skirk's team. Next, it was the second half where I was still dreading bringing Layla with my Malvika team. I saw the melt! Oh, she's gonna fall? She's gonna fall? What? Did they take any damage? I don't know how fall damage works. I don't want to burst, like, please melt. Brought Rosaria. Time was getting a bit low, but as long as I don't miss my crit, I should be good. That was a bit scuffed, but it's fine. With that clutch crit, I'm banking it all for me to get through this chamber. Wow. Without animation canceling, I wouldn't have been able to get it. It's like I've never fought this boss before? How? Is that even possible? I wasn't really that familiar with the boss's attack patterns, so I had to tread carefully. But Skirk was actually doing pretty well. I had to break some elemental stars in the middle, and I was able to power through the boss. Oh, it's a master staller. And she disappeared. The final boss was actually the best for Malvika, so hopefully with my improvised Malvika team, I can get this one last star. I need to get a juicy melt in for this boss. Okay. on. Crit. Ooh, 700. Okay, that's juicy. And this should be a 3-star. 36-star. Yeah, like how do I melt like this? Like how do I melt here? Do I just not melt at all? Like Leios' cryo application is so slow. I was messing around by the end of it, but with so much time left, it was pretty much a guarantee I was able to get 36 stars. Don't run away, please. Just like that, I was able to finish off his account fixing journey with Dracos' first ever 36-star Abyss clear. Looking back at the start of this, I didn't believe it was even possible. But I managed to turn this account from being a cursed one to an endgame viable one in 30 days. Honestly, I believe every single Genshin account can become like this with enough time and a little planning. Sure, there might be a few meta characters on this account, but I also had the most fun building a One Punch Man Hazel team. And it made farming all the more fun. Since Jazaz's release, Draco was also able to still continue on with 36 starring the Spiral Abyss since the account fixing. And the station is also very close to an all fearless clear. I originally thought I was only going to do this once, but after seeing how much this account improved, I think Dracos' account might not be the last account I fix.